Looking at this list of the best US banks, and then learning that most of these large institutions are already in the crypto space, discussing their plans to tokenize and provide their customers with crypto-based services is a bit strange, isn't it? Isn't that crazy? I want to discuss how everything completely changed in this video. All of a sudden, everything changed, and the reason for this is that one of the large banks on this list is promoting one of the most significant developments in the banking industry with reference to cryptocurrency. Everyone, welcome back to the channel. Nick is my name. If you are new to the channel, I hope you will subscribe by the end of this video. Let's get right to the point. Let's begin with the major upgrade that we received at the end of January, shall we, as if we all recall this. Because SAB 121 was fully repealed, banks were no longer able to hold digital assets like cryptocurrency. The CEO of Bank of America recently gave us a significant update on this piece, stating that if regulators approve, financial sector is prepared to embrace cryptocurrency payments, which they essentially obtained. However, Bank of America comes in at number 2. We now know that JP Morgan has been using cryptocurrency, particularly the Onyx private Ethereum chain. However, Ripple has been used by Bank of America. They and Ripple are partners. They wish to make use of the XRPL and XRP. However, we also learned in early February that Coinbase was taking a risk by calling on U.S. regulators to remove banking restrictions on cryptocurrency. Are the feds going to pay attention? The exchange formally requested clear and binding regulations that permit banks to provide crypto custody and execution services to the FDIC and the OCC. Companies are now unable to collaborate with banks due to antiquated regulations. According to Coinbase, this has to be fixed. They contend that uniform rules will encourage broad adoption, increase stability, and stimulate financial innovation. They are supported by a legal study that demonstrates that the existing restrictions are not supported by statutes. If the regulations are altered, banks may be able to incorporate cryptocurrency in unprecedented ways. It's the same day over here. Given that the FDIC released 175 documents regarding its supervision of banks that support cryptocurrency, is crypto banking finally obtaining approval? Critics say it's long overdue, but Acting Chair Travis Hill says it's about openness. Because of their involvement with Operation Choke Point 2, banks were afraid for years that the FDIC was stifling blockchain innovation. Although Hill acknowledges that previous regulations have discouraged cryptocurrency, he is advocating for a new era that would allow financial institutions to investigate digital assets. Tim Scott, meantime, isn't holding back when he accuses regulators and regulation of having a political bias and connects it to Operation Choke Point 2. According to him, having access to financial services is a right rather than a privilege. Significant policy changes are on the horizon as a result of Congress and regulators' increased attention to crypto banking. Will there be a clear route for banks to use blockchain at last? Let's fast forward a bit and we have this video. In this Bloomberg video, Adena Friedman, the CEO and head of NASDAQ, discusses how Wall Street's largest banks, which were previously cautious of cryptocurrencies, are now preparing to welcome and support them when U.S. regulations change. They anticipate that Trump's support for cryptocurrencies would lead to a surge in initial public offerings, IPOs, stock sales, and convertible bonds, generating new revenue streams. Keep in mind that this is taking place following the repeal of SB 121. Big bank CEOs have previously stated that they are prepared to accept cryptocurrency payments if authorities approve them, and numerous industry participants are pleading with regulators to expedite this process. Next, we have the CEO and chair of NASDAQ discussing this in the mainstream media. This is absurd. This year, you've also talked a lot about regulation and the potential for changes that may, among other things, lower prices and really get more businesses to market. What are your thoughts on the possibility of change this year? What would be the one thing that the Trump administration, the new SEC, or perhaps even the newest CFTC could do to make a significant difference? There is nothing on my agenda. I've got a few. Therefore, it's critical that we concentrate on both maximizing the financial sector's potential and improving the intelligence of regulation. However, many of the regulations could be re-examined because they are likely out of date. There are numerous regulations that may have been put in place with the intention of promoting investor safety and security, but they only measure inputs rather than results. Therefore, How can we increase outcome-oriented regulations that enable technology to be used to help solve these issues rather than relying solely on adding time and personnel to the processes? Therefore, there are several opportunities to increase the efficiency of the financial industry. They could free $25 to $50 billion in cash that could be invested in the economy if they could remove 10 to 20% of just risk and compliance programs. That's one. Then, of course, becoming public would also make the business more productive and efficient, in my opinion. Since many people are staring at you and asking, well, what does NASDAQ do in the world of digital assets? I have to question you about another sector as well, and this is if it alters your perspective on how much you might want to accept technology. We supply technology to the Bitcoin business by offering banks that hold digital wallets, risk management tools, as well as trading, clearing, surveillance tools. Additionally, they can support both fiat and digital wallets and have financial crime capabilities. As a result, our market is highly involved as a technology provider. We're happy to support the most successful cryptocurrency exchange-traded funds, ETFs, on the NASDAQ, but we'll need to watch how the regulatory landscape develops since it will undoubtedly exist. In my opinion, the CFTC and the SEC will be establishing guidelines aimed at protecting investors, and we will definitely take it into consideration if that is the case. We have very clear guidelines and we see a chance to succeed and interact with our clients in novel ways. However, the industry is already heavily engaged today. So yes, right now, these days, this is one of the most talked about subjects. We have a huge chance to improve the efficiency of the financial sector by using blockchain-based crypto services. It's kind of strange that Ripple had large banks form a global payment steering group with them for this very purpose back in 2016. Isn't it? I mean, that's kind of crazy. For years, almost 10 years, Ripple has been at the vanguard of this. Additionally, banks are now receiving approval. Whose digital asset and whose business do you believe will gain the most from this? To be honest, it's pretty clear now that it hurts to watch all these people disparaging XRP and Ripple because they don't get it. They fail to understand. They failed to conduct adequate research. Additionally, large institutions are already beginning to invest millions of dollars in ETFs, this time Canadian and UK banks, but also the city. Now, let's return to the list. Here, the third largest player has $1.73 trillion in total assets. The third largest bank in the US, Citi, is thinking about getting involved in Bitcoin custody management. Recall that Citi was a partner of Medico, which later changed its name to Ripple Payments. Is the Citi still using it then? We don't know about Ripple custody, but this is fascinating. Recall that custody is the first step, after which they can proceed to tokenization use cases. They are able to investigate DeFi usage cases. They are essentially limitless. Let's return to the list now. JP Morgan has a long history in the cryptocurrency space. The presence of Bank of America in cryptocurrency is confirmed. It is now verified that Citi is in cryptocurrency. In cryptocurrency, Goldman Sachs, PNC, and Ripple have been partners for a very long time.